Good morning, Bears. It is a fine Thursday morning. It's Thursday, December 6th, 2018. I'm so glad to have you join me. I know it was late notice, but we made it. We got here. And it doesn't have to be as short as yesterday. Still shorter than I like, but we're working on it. We're getting there. A little bit at a time. One thing at a time here. So, I woke up this morning and sounded like my sinuses just were finished with me. So that's fine. They'll peter out after a while. They'll figure themselves out and get adjusted. But yeah, they're a mess right now. But it's kind of cool. I don't mind having the super deep voice. Honky says, can't stay, heading into work. Have a great day. See you in chats this evening. Love you, BDB. Dude, you're awesome. And I hope that interview worked out well for you. I hope things went well on all of that. I'm curious to see how things went. So look forward to talking to you more about it. That's a good deal, man. Yeah, just trying to get this to clear out. It's not my friend today, this whole sinus cavity of mine. But yeah, I woke up and it was just like, oh, I felt like that dude from the It's Time to Believe All Women video. My mom told me that I'm handsome. That guy. Yeah, I felt like him a little bit. So it was fun in some way. I turned it into fun, right? So let's see here. I said a few days ago that in order to get this show rocking, I need like a checklist. So my mom and dad left these Star Trek sticky notes for me as like an early Christmas present or belated birthday, whatever you want to call it. And they're kind of fun. You know, I've got things in there like a little notepad from Uhura while you were beaming down, you know, and there's the stuff you can leave notes about. And, of course, the little Star Trek insignia. And then these guys, you've got little tab notes that you can put. Every other one doesn't have a dude on it. They're all on transporter pads. So, like, every other one isn't there. So it's like they're beaming, right, when you flip it like that. Pretty nerdy. I'm a professional nerder. So I pulled one of these out, and I made myself a checklist for getting the show started so I didn't forget to turn my volumes on and all that kind of jazz. I'll probably redo it and make it in something bright that I can see regularly and tape it to my laptop. But it just tells me, you know, your show checklist. Why YouTube title and description, you got to get that set. And then iTunes has to be up. OBS it needs to be up. The sound needs to be set to the proper thing. And then the mixer itself needs to have its volumes turned on. So all of these different things have to happen in order for me to start a successful show. I want to give a shout out to B West because B West is awesome. She puts up links to my shows on Twitter constantly on both her accounts. She'll put it on one account and then retweet it with her other, which is fantastic. And she has the most hilarious GIFs to go along with that day's show. I mean, every time it's a winner. It's so hilarious. Love it. So very grateful for B West. Appreciate that. I also want to give it a shout to Bonnie Ann. Bonnie Ann has been a viewer on here for a little while. She's been one of y'all bears. And she just started a show recently here. She's got a few episodes in her channel. So be sure to check out Bonnie Ann. BONNIEANN. And let's see here. I'm going to try, and, you know, I'm going to have to just post a link to it in the comments or something like that. If anybody else has a link to her channel, feel free to pop that out. But she's pretty cool. She said on Twitter that she was inspired because of me and other bears. And I'm like, well, that's huge, man. That's awesome. I've got a tiny little YouTube channel with like 159 subscribers. And I've been doing this for 6 months. You'd think I would have moved a little further down the line, but I'm just doing what I do. You know, I went away for a couple of weeks, almost not doing a show for 2 weeks. And so my daily viewership is down to what it was when I first started. You know, it's definitely dropped back. Plus, I've changed my time to earlier in the morning unless people can come. So, you know, I think about it at times like my influence isn't that great. And yet when I see one person say, you influenced me to want to start a show. I'm like, that's awesome. That's kind of how this is supposed to work. We're paying it forward, passing it down the line. Owen inspired me, plenty of other bears like Steve Pinder I saw doing streams, Mayor McDath doing streams out there. I figured I needed to get in on this whole business, and it's been really good for me. It's been definitely awesome for me to do that, to get in here and have some degree of accountability with folks and to meet some awesome bears. Hey, Moomin popped that up. Thanks, Moomin. You're awesome. The last Moomin, right? There's not any more left after him, so we got to preserve that Moomin. Keep him going. I got to get him some tracks, dude. I know I'm behind. Been walking these dogs, and today's like the first day I'm going to have a little bit of reprieve. Not a ton. In fact, I've still got stuff to do, even though I don't have all of the dogs to walk. It's my beautiful lady's day off from her other job at the optometrist, so she's walking some of the afternoon dogs today, but I'm still walking the morning dogs, which is a good thing for me. I need to do. Let's see here. So after I finish those guys, I'm going to head over and get some paperwork done for my other gig that needs doing. Oh, man. Let's see what else I need to do. I probably need to go take a run. A run would be good, like on the treadmill. I think it's a good idea. It'll probably shake loose a bunch of this stuff if I sweat for like 40 minutes. That'd be awesome. It'd be even more awesome is if there was a sauna, like a nice, just massively, what's the word I'm looking for? Humid sauna. Something that can just suck the nasty, disgusting junk out of my system. Maybe I'll drop like 5 pounds. It'd be great. And do a physical fitness test next week. That's my goal. I need a practice test. Oh boy. So yeah, all that fun jazz should be happening today. But I'm gonna try to get some Moomin tracks going. Send them out to Moomin. He sent me some tracks of my from our track that we did together. And I'm working on mixing those a little bit. But I need to send him some stuff because I definitely want to get a hold of like the instrumental tracks and his vocal tracks. That'd be fun, and play with the mix down over here. Plus, I'll maybe pop the individual tracks over to my friend Brett and see if we can't create a fully mastered mix down, because Brett has this technology in his computer. Like, okay, so I'm doing everything from this MacBook 09, mid 2009 MacBook, 8 gigabytes of RAM in it, and I think it's got like, what is it, a 500 gigabyte hard drive that I'm getting closer to filling up, right? It's not. Oh, what? I'm missing people's chat comments, I think. Hang on a second. What's going on here? Or is nobody chatting? You guys are busy. I won't hold it against you if you are. I know how that goes. Hang on. This is weird. It's like it's stuck. Or is it just at the bottom? I can't really tell. That's so weird. Hang on, I'm going to do this. Oh, that's not helping. Oh, it's weird. Okay. Anyway, there it goes. There it goes. It's working now. It just wasn't for a minute there. I didn't know why. Yeah, that's what I'm fixing to do, Moomin. I'll put a mix down of the drums. But I might send you different tracks. You know what I'm saying? I might give you the individuals, because when you have individuals, you can do so much more mixing. That's what I was trying to talk about with Brett. So Brett, okay, I got sidetracked because the thing was messing up on me. Broham's here, awesome. Fellow Desay is here. I think I said it right. Liberty Snake, B West, of course Moomin. And if I didn't say you, it's nothing personal. Honky was here. I think that Andrew J. Well, of course, right? The awesome people. Corrali is here. Corey. I don't know. I'm going to do it wrong. I'm saying it wrong. Robot Bear. Dude, we're getting all sorts of bears in here. All kinds of bears. Yeah, all kinds. I'm just being the Hodge twins myself. Far less black, but, and also far less in shape. So Brett's got this mastering software that he can take individual tracks of a tune, and he can take, like, say, the vocals, and he can spread them across the speakers where they're kind of in the left or kind of in the right and more in the center, whatever you want to, I mean, that's panning, but he does it in such a way that it amplifies the vocals. It brings them to the forefront of the mix in a way that's really amazing. He can also have plugins that are in there that will do what they used to do in the studios back in the day. They will copy the entire vocal track, and they will either put it just a hair's breadth, maybe a 64th note, like ahead or behind, and it will create this presence to the vocal that's just awesome. All these little tricks that he can just touch a button and it's done. But he does other subtle tweaking. There's an art side to it. And really it makes the difference. Also, he's got plugins. Okay, there was a Steely Dan record, I think, back in the day. Was it Steely Dan? I think it was. Where they went in the studio and they wanted to use no EQing, no equalization, like no fixing the lows, the mids, and the highs and all that stuff to make things pop. They just recorded everything with great mics, and the mics processed through a transformer, right, that was in the mixing console, the recording console at the studio. And it was like this really high quality transformer that processed all this signal. So the signal stayed intact, like massively intact. And the sound was just amazing on that album. Really, really, really good. Obviously, they're mixing volumes and different things like that they have to do to balance stuff, but the tone of each individual recording was so great. So we're working with technology that does that kind of stuff. It emulates that type of thing and brings this presence to your music that is just so good. Yeah, it's going to be really, really, really good. So we're going to try to do some of that stuff with Moomin's tracks, I think. I'm going to suggest that. And I might make a different version where I take some of the words out that he uses, or the radio edit is what I'm saying. I might make a radio edit version, that I can play in front of my kids or something like that. That's all. I can share it with grandma that way. Funny though your version is, I'm amused, but yeah, we'll rock something, so that it'll be amazing. Let's see here. So, what was I going to talk about? Okay, so the topic for today was Call of the Wild. I'm laughing because I know where I'm going. Okay, so many of you have seen Scott, good friend of mine. I'm calling him up by name. So I think it's all right to discuss this because it's just a part of our lives. It's just what happens. We have this uncanny, mystical, bizarre ability to contact one another while one or the other of us is in the bathroom for one reason or another. Either he'll call me while I'm in the bath, or I'll call him while he's on the toilet, or, vice versa. He's showering, I'm on the toilet. But it's the other one calls us, right? The other one calls the one of us that is in the bathroom. Not like we call each other from the bathroom. Now, that has happened. We have done that just for, furthering the joke, just for continuing it on. But without any awareness that that's going to happen, like neither one of us are thinking about it. Like, I'll see the phone ring and I might be in the bathtub or something. I'm like, he wants to FaceTime too, which is even funnier. So I just turn on the phone and I position it so all he can see is my face. He can't see the water or my unclothing, upper half. And I just tell him, one guess. All you get's one. And he just busts out into laughter because he knows what's occurred. And it's like, how did I not anticipate that was going to happen? And last night I was indisposed. I was on the toilet, and of course I get a FaceTime call from Scott. And I was going to not pick it up. I'm like, I'll wait until I'm done, man. But I thought, no, I'm going to let him have it. So I just grab a roll of toilet paper, and I'm holding the phone so he can see this big roll of toilet paper, in the phone when I pick up, or when I answer. And I didn't have to say a word. I just he just saw the large hole. He took like a split second to look at it. He's like, and he just busted out laughing. So this is not what I would say is a desirable happenstance usually. Hey, Big Rig and James, what's up, dude? Good to see you. I'm sorry, did I just dox you? Not really, because you've said it before. You've told all of us. You've said it in your own videos, so yeah, I'm not worried. If you're worried and I dox you a little bit too much, see, you talk to Kikia because she's had experience with this from me. Then just let me know. Let me say, hey, don't do that. Won't do that. You know, it's no problem. Send me a private message offline in the Hangouts or something. But yeah, I say I'm Aaron all the time, so people know who I am. But dude, that's so awesome. You got it. He's got his t-shirt. That's legit. That's what's up. We need to make sure at least one more person has their shirt. Still waiting to connect with Harold here because he and I have both been ridiculously busy and we haven't coordinated any of that effort. So that's so funny, B West. That's hilarious. We're in the same boat. Commercial choking soon. What's that? Oh, coming. I think you meant. You're making a commercial for the chunk shirt? Dude, that'd be legit. Hey, Bonnie Ann, welcome. I just was plugging your new stream before you got here. I wanted everybody to make sure they get over to Bonnie Ann's channel because she's got a new show. So if you just got in here and you hadn't heard, definitely need to wander over to Bonnie Ann's place. She's got a new show. It's mostly for women. It's designed toward women, and she sounds like a pretty awesome woman. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and they're thinking about homeschool and stuff, I think you said. All kinds of cool stuff. Yeah, I was already subbed, and then you started the show, and I'm like, well, that's cool. Now I'm getting notifications of a new bear show. But I was just saying how honored I was that you mentioned on Twitter that you were inspired by my show here and other bears. So that's way cool. That's what's up. We want to encourage other bears. We want to do these kinds of things. This is a good deal. So very, 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 very pleased to see that. And best wishes to you. I'll tell people to watch your show even more because they should watch your dang show. Guys or girls, get the female bear perspective. The mama bears are the ones who can kick your butt. So you better wise up, figure out what they're all about. Okay, this is not what I meant. You gotta cooperate with me, YouTube. I'm trying to talk to the people. Come on, YouTube. All right. Yeah. So I've been talking here about my buddy Scott and how he and I often call each other while we're on the toilet or in the tub, one of the two, or shower. And it's a continual joke between us. It's not an ideal situation to be in a phone conversation with someone when you're, shall we say, in the buff. And there's nothing buff about my buff, I promise. Working to remedy that. My goal is that before I have to, let's see here, before it gets toward, spring, there should be a significant change in the level of buffness of my buff. But let's see here now. What am I thinking? I'm trying to remember what I was thinking about. Okay, so these circumstances are not ideal, but we make the best of it. We use it as a great source of humor between us, a great source of camaraderie. It definitely causes us to be bonded all the more. And I'm not sure if that's a good thing, but it made me think about a lot of different situations that we encounter. There's a lot of times when non-ideal situations happen to us in life. And this is obviously a minor example, but how are we going to treat those, right? How are we going to look at situations that happen because of our poor timing or our I don't know, ill-informed choices, whatever the case may be? How do we either use some of those things how do we break from it is some of the things I've talked about before. And how do we, hey, Steve is here. What's up? How do we use some of these things to propel ourselves forward when we have times that they seem kind of awkward, they seem kind of weird, we're constantly running into a similar problem, right? Where it's like I was talking about this in the description, like as a drummer, to be hitting the same issue over and over again in life, when I feel like it's just bad timing all the time. How do you overcome things like that? It's like, man, I can't get back into the groove on this issue or that issue. I sound very general, but I think some of you are getting the gist of what I'm trying to say here. You can consistently have trouble with, for some of us, we're much more analytical and scientific about things. So we just change stuff, right? We just say, well, I'm going to discipline myself to do this thing or that thing. For those of us that doesn't come naturally to, right? We do have to work at it much harder. We have to take less specific roads at times in order to deal with things in the immediate. We make changes, but they're still going to take a while to take effect, right? It's not going to be an overnight thing for us to not get caught up with some of the same issues that we do. Like there'll always be something else. How would I put this? Oh, sorry, something in the eye here. It's bugging me. Anyway, we'll be trying to, say, get out the door in the morning, and we'll try to remember everything that we need. And the analytical person's instinct would be to make a list. Like my wife would probably make a list of everything that she needs. I would do the same thing nowadays, but invariably, like without fail, I'm going to leave something off that list. I'm probably going to leave a couple of things off that list. And it'll take me a while until that list is complete. It'll take me several repetitions until I get that list more complete. And that list may likely change. Suddenly I'll need other things, and so it can't always be one way. I have to constantly adjust. I constantly have to update, and I'll lose track of that. I'll get off on it. If I'm just reliant on saying, well, I got to go by the list and that kind of thing is what's going to help me. I can't do that. I can't just do that. Like the list is helpful, but it's not the only thing that I need to do in order to make sure that I'm not constantly leaving something out. I have to make another choice in that process and use my tendencies or work with my tendencies. So if I know I have a tendency to forget, blah, blah, blah. Like here's a great example. More than once, I've had an issue where I go to the airbase and I'll go out to do my weekend. I've got my whole uniform, all that kind of stuff, right? What if I go out there and I've got to do physical fitness stuff first? So I'm going to wear either civilian clothes or my fitness uniform stuff. When I have done that, almost without fail, I've forgotten one of the parts of my uniform, be it my belt, my t-shirt, my boots, right? Socks, the socks that go with it. I've forgotten some piece of that at one time. Hat, right? Plenty of times this has happened, right? And it'll be several months in between when I have an issue where that's gone on, right? So, I was trying to figure out, like, do I just make a list of everything that I need? And I can do that, but then I'll still have other things that I didn't add to the list, but the situation will change. Man, now it's cold weather and I need some cold weather item like a glove. And I hadn't accounted for that. It wasn't because I'm not looking at that every day. It's a once a month kind of thing. So it just doesn't pop up, and I don't plan that far out. I'm not that developed in my planning capabilities. If you've heard me talk about my email accounts, Dom's already, just by saying the word email in context with me, Dom's anxiety has anxiety now. And welcome, Dom. Good to see you, brother. And who did I see here? Was that Old Bear? Old Bear's also. Kick is up in here. Word up. It was Roy Bear. That's who I saw, not Old Bear. Old Bear's cool, though. Let's see here. So, yes, exactly. Anxiety. So, what I ended up doing that solved this problem was to put a duplicate of everything that I need in my office. I have an extra of everything: a belt, a hat, a uniform, like the outer stuff, the t-shirt. I think the only thing I don't have is boots, because I didn't have a. No, I might have had the boots there. No, I do have the boots there. What am I talking about? So I've got all that stuff there, right? I've got an extra of everything there, and I've got one here. In case the situation changes, I'm ready to go at both locations, right? That solved the problem for me. It wasn't enough to just make the list. Like, I needed to try and dupe everything, and that got in my way, because day-to-day situations change. I might be rushing, doing something, and then suddenly it slips my mind. I'm not even looking at my list, whatever the case may be. Now that I'm walking, no, different scenario here. Now that I'm walking dogs for my wife, she was trying to help me get on the page of doing all the different dogs that I need to take care of every day of the week, since, you know, she's not the one doing it, I am. And she had lists for herself. What? You're cracking me up, man. Why? Because I brought you anxiety? So funny. Oh, it is. YouTube is run by commies. Did you click the bell, Old Bear? Did you click the bell icon? Old Bear's not getting notifications and has mentioned this to me on Instagram as well. Yeah, I was thinking about saying that. I'm sure you probably have, but if you, I figured, yeah, you've unsubscribed, you resubscribed, you tick the bell, all that jazz. Yeah, and maybe they're picking you as one of the percentages that doesn't get it. This is ridiculous. You should be getting notifications when I go up. Okay, so part of the reason too, like when I go live, there should be a notification, right? I try to do the half-hour out one, and I often don't get that in time. I've often got other stuff that's just priority, and I don't have time to get it set up. I'm just in that place. I don't have a team. You know, I've got my stuff to worry about, and if I get to that, great, but it's not high up on the priority list. So I don't blame you, Old Bear. I'd be pissed if I were you too. Let's see. Yeah, it's... I figure if you write to them and complain to them, they're probably not going to do anything about it either. Like, and it gives me a little bit of satisfaction. I mean, I'm sorry to say, to know that people that watch my show are having some shadow banning stuff happen in their attempt to watch my show. So, like, wow, I'm a 159 subscriber dude down here at the bottom, and they're already shadow banning me. That's fantastic. But at the same time, I don't want that to continue. So I'm shooting for 7:30 in the morning. It'll probably be closer to 7:50, as we've already figured out this week. Yesterday I had to go later. I had another thing happen, but I'm shooting for 7:30 is the goal time. 7:30 Central Time. That's the goal. So if you know that, it's kind of like Crowder. I haven't gotten notifications for Crowder in the longest time. Well, for his live show. Whenever Crowder goes live, I haven't gotten live notifications for him in a long time, right? But I just know he starts at 7 on Thursdays. That's the deal, right? Not right now. He's out getting rest. Good for him. Do his thing. But if you know that I'm on at 7:30 a.m. Central Time, usually between 7:30 and 7:50 somewhere, then come looking for me, you know, and I'll be here usually. That's the goal. Weekdays, of course. So that's the best I can do to help you overcome that now. Just know when I'm on, you know, give yourself. And that's kind of what we're talking about here. It's like when life isn't working the way that you want it to, how can you adjust fire? How can you get around it? Shadow banning is a great example, and I'm so glad you brought that up. Yeah, like, so with Crowder, I just had to know. I had to put a reminder in my own phone. Hey, Crowder's going to be on at 7 on Thursdays, you know, or to just see that information enough that I know it, right? And then I just go looking for it. Like now I have a natural impulse to go looking for Crowder at 7 on Thursdays, right? So you may have to do that same thing with me. I was talking about doing that with what is it now? The dog walking that I'm doing for my wife. She has X amount of different dogs each day, and that can change from day to day. So she created a list, of course, for me and has that in the car. So I'm looking at it. I know, it's going to be where I'll see it. And I can then know these are the different customers that I have to get to in a day's time. So that's helpful. But the more that I do it, the more it's ingrained in my mind. Like I know who to expect. And I also get used to interacting with their owners, you know, and communicating to them, hey, I'm going to be walking this dog at this time. I'm going to be walking this dog at this time. Or they'll text me and say, no, we're home today, or whatever the case may be. We won't need you. And I can make it a habit then to communicate with them. You know, if I know, so a couple of them are teachers, you know, a couple of the dog parents are teachers. And so when school's not going to be happening on a holiday, or school's going to be out for snow or whatever, I can start thinking ahead. Hey, it's a snow day. I should probably check with them and see if they're going to need me today or not. You know, I knew one customer was probably going to be off yesterday, but I went over anyway, because even when they're home, they sometimes prefer that we do the walk, and they've got other stuff going on. So, you know, different things like that. You get to know the temperaments of different people, and the list is there to help. But the idea eventually is that you ingrain that stuff, right? And my nature is to eventually memorize a lot of that stuff. So I have lists to help guide me, but the idea is to internalize a lot of it and get and to be able to adapt to the change. So it's good to have multiple ways, I think, to approach a problem that you're facing. Kind of like some of the money making gurus and internet business folks that are out there. I've looked into over the last couple of years, tried to learn more about like online gigs that you could do to try and earn an income. A lot of people got into affiliate marketing, which if you do it right, it's not all, some people say it's a scam, and I'm like, I get it, but really understand how it works and what people do. It's not always easy to make a living doing it at first, but you really just have to be dedicated to get stuff set up. I mean, really dedicated and organized, which I'm not. So, the more you plan at the beginning to get things going, the better you can do with it. Plenty of people start making like $3,000 a month or more, getting going with making videos or making blogs about different products and having links to those kinds of things for people to get at, you know, and they get sales going. They're really good at all the different aspects that are involved. So all of these people that have been doing stuff like that or other forms of internet related business for any length of time, they're saying have multiple streams of income. What's his name? Great book. All of you should read at some point. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. If you've never picked that one up, it's the first part in a trilogy that he put together several years ago. And he's kind of a genius, a very smart dude. But he figured out years ago from mentorship of a dad of a friend of his on how to be wise with his finances, to understand how money works. Yeah, Bob has a YouTube channel now. It's very cool. So dig into Robert Kiyosaki stuff. He's a super cool dude. He's a Hawaiian, I think, what is he? A Japanese American, but he grew up in Hawaii. Interesting cat. And he's a super conservative dude too. Way cool guy. But he made this point a long time ago that the best plan for you is to have multiple streams of income. You want income redundancy. If you're reliant on one stream, if that one stream goes down, you get fired or downsized or whatever the case may be. Now all your income is not happening, right? But when you have it from multiple sources, right? Like guys like Warren Buffett, they probably have dozens of sources, dozens of different sources that they get income from, right? There's different forms of business that you can involve yourself in that don't require a whole team. There's online type things that you can start doing today. There's people that need a certain skill performed that they don't want to spend the time doing. And if you figure out how to do that and how to make a system out of it where you almost get it to run itself, you get the engine up and running and then you just maintain it. It's kind of like when you're driving a car, right? You have to use more gas to get it going, get it from zero to moving. And then once you've got it moving pretty swiftly, you can it switches to the smaller gears. It doesn't take the big gears. It doesn't take as much gas to keep it moving at those speeds, right? You get up to 55 miles an hour. You can stay going 55 miles an hour, and you can keep your RPMs in between 1 and 2,000 pretty well. You can use, instead of that big giant gear in there, it's a little gear. Keep yourself going. So Robert Kiyosaki is not the same as Dave Ramsey. Dave is more focused on getting out of debt and building wealth and things like that, which is good. Bob Kiyosaki is more about the generation of wealth, right? Like how do you treat money? Instead of working for money, his mindset is make money work for you. And Owen's talked about these kind of things too. He's like, rental income, that's where I'm at. I do the real estate thing, and that is one of the best areas to be involved in. Probably one of the best. Everybody's always going to need a place to live, right? That's just the deal. So that's a business that's not going anywhere, and people get into it all the time and do extremely well if they do their homework and take their time, make a good plan, right? They try to understand all the details involved. But this concept of redundancy relates to what I'm talking about. Having different options to solve a problem, having different avenues to approach an issue that you're dealing with is going to give you the best chance of success, especially if you're a dude like me. You get better at the stuff you're not good at. Like, I'm not naturally good at making lists, but I try to get better at it. I try to build my ability to do that, and I try to do a bunch of other things that are more instinctive stuff, right? Just sort of like steps I can take to get in my own way, right? To prep ahead of time and say, I know I'm likely to do X, so I'll circumvent myself. And the uniform issue I talked about before, I'll put a whole uniform where I need it, when I need it there, so that I'm not like, dang it, forgot it again. This doesn't always work. That trick doesn't always work if you don't have doubles of everything. Like, I have one drum set that I can really use for most gigs. So I can't have one here at the house and one in the car all the time. At least not yet. One day that's a goal. I want you guys to see this. This is kind of off topic, but I don't care. I want to share it anyway because it's fun. So this is one of my favorites. I'm going to bring it up here in just a moment, but there's this company that is so cool. Let's see. Is that what I want? Yeah, I'll do it right here. I'll do it like that. Let's see here. There's this company that makes drums that are so awesome. And what they do with their drums is super cool. So one day, I hope, I plan, let's put it that way, I plan to be in a position to own a kit like this, or a couple of them. And yeah, if you want to contribute to the Big Drum Bear Awesome Drum Kit Fund, feel free to paypal.me/ADRSIT. I'm joshing, but not entirely. Let's see here. Let's go products, and I'm gonna bring this up for y'all because it's so freaking cool. It's just awesome. Compact nesting kits. This is what is up. Some people might think of this as like the tiny house for drums, but it's not. It's something even better. All right, let's check this out, shall we? This is the Treehouse Drums website, and these guys are wicked cool. Boy, if I could be endorsed by them, that'd be something, but I don't think they'd want me, at least not yet. All right, so this is the bass drum, right? And you can see toward the top section of the bass drum, there's these latches, and there's kind of a cut that goes along toward the front side of that bass drum. That's because it lifts off, right? Let's see, tell me more. I want to know more about these compact nesting kits. Let's see. See how the front pops off, and here's the floor tom, and the bottom pops off there. So the snare drum is real thin, and then you've got this other tom-tom. So you put this little tom-tom inside the floor tom, and you put the floor tom inside the bass drum, and the snare also goes in the bass drum, and it all packs up into one bag, and you can go off on your way. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Oop, gonna go tuck in there like a little Russian nesting doll. But to have two different setups of this, one that's meant for jazz with like a nice 18-inch bass drum. Oh, look, this one's got the 3 toms. Yeah, and the 3 toms all fit. And then you just have the snare and the 4 tom that fit inside the bass drum. And you're good to go. Usually you can kind of bag each one of those drums up, you know, to protect them so they're not scraping the inside of the other drums. But it turns out pretty cool. It's a good deal. I'd have one that has like an 18-inch bass drum and one that's got a 20-inch and 2 toms with each kit. And they'll sound ridiculously cool. If I want a heavier rock kind of kit, I can double up the bass drums and I can have 4 toms in the kit, 2 snares, and I'll just have a monster kit that I can take places. But yeah, I don't need to do that for most things. That's just for fun if I wanted to. But this stuff is so much fun. And one of these days, I'll be able to leave one kit at home and one kit with me on the road wherever I go. The Russian dolls of drums. It's like True Duckin'. You're making me think of what is this? There was a bit about the most interesting man in the world. One of the old most interesting man in the world commercials back when he was doing the Dos Equis stuff. And it was his True Duckin' consists of a duck inside of a chicken, inside of a, I don't remember what, back inside the original duck. It was so weird. It was like a Mobius True Duckin'. It was the most bizarre thing I'd ever heard of. But funny. Yeah. Most interesting man in the world bits. If you have not heard of that, go check them out on YouTube. They're hilarious. So the goal is to have multiple avenues so that, you know, I'm squared. And with any situation, any issue I come up on, you know. Now, it's the bigger picture here is not just a multiple avenues thing, but it's this mindset of turning a problem into your solution, turning your own issues that you might have to your advantage. Excuse me. When militaries have had a smaller number of people, they figure, okay, how can we use the fact that we have way fewer people than our enemy to our advantage? You know, that kind of stuff, turning a weakness into a strength. That whole principle, I think, helps me approach life better. You know, when even in social situations, right? So my buddy continually calls me when I'm in the bathroom, right? And I can just ignore that and be frustrated and be like, why do you keep calling me when I'm in the bathroom? Why do I keep calling him when he's in the bathroom? You know, it's just like, gosh, darn it. We don't mean to do that. So what do we do with this? We just decide to live with it, to laugh at it because it's hilarious. You know, it brings us joy. And there's this continual expectation that when we call, it might be happening. One of us might be either in the shower or on the pot. And there's always that apprehension associated with like, oh, geez. And yet it's a comedic apprehension, which we enjoy. So out of that was birthed encouragement, laugh, enjoy life, multiple avenues, right, of solution. And I think you're going to get somewhere positive. So guys, it is that time once again. I have to go walk some dogs. I have to get ready here. But until tomorrow, engage your mind, your body, and your heart and seek to serve the ultimate purpose. I love you, bears. I'm so glad I can share these times with you. It's so cool to see all these folks back up in here. I love it. I know it's early, but I'm so grateful that you guys came out. I love you all, and I will see you mañana. Peace, bears. Junksmas yet to come. You will come with me, Ebenezer Bear. I seem to have summoned the ghost of Chunksmas past. Or Chunksmas future, excuse me. Oh, goodness. You want to say hi to the people? Yeah, you wanted to say hi real quick, didn't you? Oh, where's Junk? There's Junk. There's Big Boy. Oh, goodness. You're a good puppy dog. Yeah, they wanted to say hi. Yeah, he's a good boy. He just had to make a little appearance. Alright, Bears, for real. I'll see you later. Bye, guys.